Mm. Yeah.
All right, we're live.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
As we were discussing right before this got started, today we're going to be calling our secretaries of state regarding the voter information that our illustrious president is attempting to, he created the, what is it called? The
Election integrity.
integrity. Yeah, that's what it was. And if you go to fivecalls.org and enter your zip code, they will give you the phone number for your local Secretary of State. And if you do that once and then like stay logged in on their site, every time you use 5Calls, they'll automatically pull up the phone number of whoever you need to talk to for everything. And it's the best. So yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm lazy. It's great for me.
So shall we talk for a minute about why this issue matters?
Let's do that.
Yes. So I have made a living out of dealing with government data, and a lot of what I do is try to match different databases together, often on a name. And I have had to develop all kinds of algorithms to do that. It's not easy because, you know, John Smith could be a lot of different things. Could be Jay Smith, could be John Smith Jr. Anyway, you've all got junk mail addressed to some weird version of your name. So if they're trying to figure out if you voted more than once, or if you're registered in more than one state, or what have you, they've got to match different databases together on names, and that is very, very hard. So the bigger the database, the harder that gets, to the point where it's nearly impossible. So that's for John Smith. But for Jose Garcia, if you're trying to figure out if that's the Jose who is allowed to vote because he's born in America, or isn't allowed to vote because he's not a citizen, whatever, like if you're trying to match all of that to other databases completely, like of green card holders and of non-green, you know, visa, whatever, it's outrageously difficult. So each state tries to do it in their own state, and they work up their own methods that work with their data. Trying to like bring that together nationally, it's much more likely to yield false results. Mm-hmm. Which is one thing if you're trying to do it in earnest for reals, but I don't really believe that they're trying to do it in earnest for reals. I think that they're doing it in bad faith. I think they're trying to get this data. They'll show there's fraud when there's not, because that's easy to do. And then they'll basically start working out ways to restrict the vote. And they'll, you know, Ohio just got slapped down by the Supreme Court for targeting Black people and saying you shouldn't get to vote anymore. And I think that sort of approach with this much data will become, you know, that I think that's what they're up to. In any case, there's no good reason to get this data. The states can manage looking for fraud. The government, the federal government doesn't have to, and it's not any of their business. Mm-hmm. The states are supposed to run their own elections their own way. That's why every state has different voter ID stuff and different early voting rules. The elections are up to the states. The federal government has no business with this data or in this. All they can do is ask if they can help prevent fraud and suggest ways, but I just think this is totally out of bounds and can only yield bad results. So, and that's from all of my years of matching data. They can't, I mean, even if they were trying to, and I try my hardest, you know, you get mediocre results at best. And I just think
that's a really important insight for people to have, because that's something that, you know, as a layman who never had to do that before, it would never occur to me how difficult that is, because, you know, you watch a CSI and they're like, oh, John Hartson, and then they type it in and there's his photo and his entire history in like 30 seconds. Yeah. So people are just like, well, yeah, it's fine. We can do that. What?
Everywhere he's been arrested. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they're not turning over the data that would make it possible, nor should they. So it would be possible maybe if you were turning over Social Security numbers, or at least a little more possible. But then if they did that, they'd have one database, which they were having people post to an insecure site anyway, with all American Social Security numbers. You think that's going to get hacked? So, yeah, once you start putting that data in, it's an enormous security concern. So they can't do that. And they've already shown by how they've been running it so far, they can't be trusted with secure data. No, we should not enable this.
So there's a lot of states who are refusing to comply with this, but what about states, for example, like mine, which are like, yeah, we'll give you the information that's like publicly available because, you know, that's allowed and that's fine. So what's the big
Missouri
deal?
is too the same.
Yeah,
and
a lot of them are.
Yeah. So I just tweeted a really great map. Let me see if I can bring that up. Can I share my screen on this?
I'm not sure you can. I think I have to as the host. I can, but I don't think unless you go to the left bar and there's a little green computer screen with an arrow on the left of the window. It'll like, it's a toolbar that slides out.
All right. Can you see that map?
Yeah.
All right. So red is will not comply. This is from Ballotpedia, one of my favorite Bill Track 50 customers. The lighter color, the salmon color, is will only provide public information. And then the light pink is request under, or is will comply, and I don't see who that would be. And then this is request under review. And then the blue is has not received the request. So it looks like nobody has actually said they'll comply, according to this map. And the red states have just said no. And I liked Mississippi, who said, go jump in the Gulf.
Oh my God, I saw that. I was dying. We have a really nice launching off point for you here in Mississippi, if you'd like. I was like, oh shit.
That Missouri, Texas, and Colorado are all in the same boat, which is, well, we'll turn over what's publicly available.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, it's publicly available to the public, but it's quite a different thing to give it to the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the public, and they shouldn't have their hands on this. I don't necessarily want the federal government with my full voter history.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the government's business, and so that's, you know,
that's part of it that bothers me. Also, is that why did they need my voter history as part of this? Like in terms of the party affiliation, that shouldn't even be a factor, and it's really telling to me that they want to know that.
And how often you voted, yeah. So yeah, that's all. I mean, that's just one more field to match on. I get it, but no, they're the federal government. They're not the public. It's not a candidate buying that data so that they could put like postcards through my door, which is one thing. Like that's legit. I vote. Go ahead and send me your campaign paraphernalia. But the federal government, that's a total, like, they are not the public. And publicly available does not necessarily mean that I really want the federal government to have that data in mass. So no, they shouldn't be turning it over at all. Not even what's publicly available.
If they want to do market research, they can assemble their own focus groups and get willing participants.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and say, so have you ever committed election fraud?
Oh my God.
Why did you or didn't you? Yeah. Not sure how much you can focus.
I love that idea so much. If that was like what they were reduced to doing. Check yes, check no, check not sure.
It's anonymous, we swear.
All right. All right, who's going first? I went first last week, I think.
Yeah, because I was trying to calm down after I got all riled.
Well, I can go first.
Alrighty.
I never have. Hang on. I've got my phone number. I think my Secretary of State is Ashcroft. Let me find my phone on here and dial the number. 573-751-4936.
I don't know. They're not set up for calls like Congress is.
Your call cannot be completed at this time. Please try again later. En este momento no se puede realizar su llamada. Por favor, intentar más tarde.
Is that an all lines are jammed thing?
1 LV.
Apparently, this is a popular call to make. I will try one more time.
I didn't know that was allowed.
Your call can...
I can call my governor.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
And let him know that I cannot reach the Secretary of State office.
They're probably more prepared for comments.
Maybe.
They probably get opinions sometimes. Because whoever calls the Secretary of State.
Oh, it sounded like they picked up for a second.
Good afternoon, Governor Gretton's office.
Hi there. I am a citizen of Missouri. My name is Cheryl Pryor, and I'm calling with a message for the governor about the Trump administration's Election Integrity Commission. Can I share my opinion with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. And I will also let you know I tried to call the Secretary of State. I don't know if they're getting a lot of phone calls, but I couldn't get through. I'm calling because I'm very concerned about the demand from the Trump administration Election Integrity Commission to turn over state voter rolls, including personal information like, my social security number. I understand that the state of Missouri is looking at turning over public information, but I would just assume that they not turn over anything because this is not a marketing research project. Do you need any other information from me to capture my comment?
Okay. No, I think that is good, and I will go ahead and get that passed along. Let me, just in case, I don't know what number you're trying to use over there, but let me just give you this number in case it works better over at SOS.
Awesome.
And that is 573 751 2379.
2379.
Yeah, of course, this is this topic has been leading the national news for the last few days. So I'm sure most Secretary of States across the country are getting a lot of concerns on it. But that would be a good number to try. And they will be the ones directly responding to it, but we'll certainly pass on your concerns here.
Super. Thank you so much.
All right.
You too. Bye-bye. All right.
Well, he was delightful.
And he's helpful for a living.
Hmm?
Yes, and I've got a new phone number, so I'll let somebody else go, and I'll circle back and try my Secretary of State again.
The way that you said that was like he gave you his number. Oh, it went really well, and I got a new number. What's up?
Because we all know my husband just walked out of the room.
Can I
He told me to have fun. I don't know what he thought was going to happen.
Go ahead with the governor's staff. I'm going.
You're going? Oh, okay.
Doing. I'm dialing.
Hi, this is Colorado Secretary of State Wayne Williams. Thank you for calling my office.
Para asistencia en español, oprima el número 1.
Please visit our website at www.sos.co.us.
I go there all the time. Thank you.
If you know your party's extension, you can dial it at any time. For business questions, press 2. For elections and campaign finance questions, press 3. For any other services that we provide, press 4. For general information, including office hours and address, press 5. For an employee listing, press 8. To repeat this menu, press 9. If any questions about state of Colorado taxes should be directed to the Colorado Department of Revenue. You may reach the Colorado Department of Revenue at 303-238.
It's like
website at www.colorado.gov.
our Secretary of State is amazing.
For notary public questions,
Actually, they've done some amazing
For
really
questions
good work.
about certified documents, press 2.
Nope.
For lobbyist questions, press 3.
Nope.
For bingo raffle questions, press 4. For questions about administrative rules, press 5. For durable medical equipment licensing, press 6. And for help with any other questions, please press 0.
Oh, good. Started with that. I guess I could have guessed
Wait while I
that.
transfer your call.
You have reached the business queue. Please wait while I direct your call.
All right. This is
Colorado Secretary of State, this is Marty.
Hi, Marty. This is Karen Suhaka, a citizen of Denver. I was calling with my opinion, if that's okay. I'd like you to pass along a message to the secretary.
You're welcome to do that, or there's a couple places on the website that you can go ahead and share your concerns, and as well as reach out to the secretary for a meeting. So
can I do?
You prefer to do?
Can I tell you and go to the website?
Sure.
Okay. I'll find it. I'll find the website on my own. I go there all the time since I am a small business owner, and I love the Secretary of State website. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But so I've written down my opinion so I don't sound like a lunatic because I'm kind of opinionated on this. Do you mind if I just read it to you?
Feel free.
Thank you, Marty. All right. So I am calling to ask the Secretary not to cooperate with the Election Integrity Commission's request for voter data. As a Denver-based entrepreneur that deals with this kind of data as my bread and butter, I know how, just as well as you do, how hard it is to match names and make use of this information for the stated purpose. I am concerned that at best, the Election Commission will waste time and money chasing a problem that the states have under control. At worst, they'll use the data in bad faith to create evidence of a problem that doesn't exist, to serve as a pretense for voting restrictions that will disenfranchise voters across the country. I appreciate that the Secretary has said he won't share personally identifiable information, but even so, I believe the part of the data that you do plan to share is problematic. Perhaps the views and recommendations from the Secretary and other secretaries of state across the country should be considered more fully as a first step before requesting this information. As it sits right now, I think this request is made in bad faith and you should deny it. I feel pretty strongly. Even though it's publicly available, the federal government is not the public, and they really shouldn't have a database of this data.
Okay, I can definitely pass this information along.
Much appreciated. Thanks so much.
Not a problem.
All
Have a
right.
good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice.
Yay.
These poor people have been drafted into a job that they never signed up for.
Okay.
Secretary of State's office, how can I help you?
Hi, I was calling to share my opinion. Is that possible to do with you?
Yes, ma'am. So we've been receiving hundreds of calls regarding that. What I can tell you to do is if you want to send over an email to the secretary's email, or you can also email Sam Taylor, which is the director of our communications, and request an official statement. And also, if you have any other questions, be more than happy to give you the email addresses.
What is the email for the secretary?
So it's just
secretary@sos.texas.gov. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just wanted to, I realize that Texas, this is about the voter suppression commission, aka the voting integrity group. I recognize that Texas has said that they're only going to hand over information that's already publicly available, but I really believe that it's still not a good idea, that Texas shouldn't be handing anything over. I think it's a push towards voter suppression, and that information is not going to be used in good faith in the nature that it is being presented as. And I really would ask the Secretary of State
Yes,
to
ma'am.
not
So,
release it.
If you want to voice your opinion on our website, we have a Texas elections complaint form, and everybody that's been calling has been going online to the website and filling that out, just so they have a written statement.
Okay, so would you recommend doing that as well as emailing?
Yes, ma'am, I would.
Okay. And what's the website?
So all you do is just Google Texas elections complaint form, and it's the first link that comes up, and it'll take you right to it, and you can just fill it out.
Okay. All right, I've got it. Thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
You
Thank
too.
you. Bye-bye.
So I'm not sure what to think of that.
She doesn't talk to you.
Yeah, like,
First of all, they answered the phone one ring. Like it took me 10 minutes to get to voicemail.
right?
But then she's like, right, don't stop. Oh gosh, she's talking.
Yeah, like I was just like, I called, so this is happening. I don't know what you think is gonna go on.
I was envisioning her saying, "Do you really expect me to write this down?"
I just don't like. It's just so. It's been presented by so many different places, and I realize that this is for when we're calling our congressman, that emails are not as effective, that I have a really hard time when I'm on the phone with a person at the office being like, oh, I guess I'll just email then. Like, I'm not really, even if she doesn't write it down, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Like, that's
right.
Just.
You should have said what you wanted to say. So that was, you actually, and you kept it brief. So I think that was fine.
I tried.
This is not, I mean, this is the executive branch, and they're not set up for this stuff. So they're just trying to cope with all the calls they're getting. But that's great. The fact that we found them in disarray on this topic is hopefully will make some of them think twice.
Hopefully.
I'm sharing in the chat for our Hangout the link to the form, because it's such a strange, like, what do you say is your complaint here? Nature of alleged violation. If you believe that a criminal violation of the code has occurred, that's not really what's happening here. Is this appropriate?
It's what they're considering, though, because that's what Epic is suing for, a restraining order. They say that they haven't done the proper privacy impact studies, and so that it's not a proper request. It's not legal yet for them to ask for this data. So
okay,
I'll give you that link. So you can cite that if you want.
Okay.
And you actually have an opinion besides just you saw it in the news.
Okay, I've got it. Cool. Yeah, because otherwise I just like this particular form I would never think was the appropriate venue, but if that's doable and all right.
You're kind of trying to preempt a privacy violation.
Yeah.
So
okay.
All right. Cheryl's got her secretary to call.
Let me try.
She's only talked to her super helpful governor. What do you know about your governor? I can tell you he knows how to hire staff.
Well, I'll give him that, and that's about all I'll give him today.
All right.
Based on the legislation that is being sent to the governor's office about birth control, and the idea that any woman who is known to use birth control or who has ever had an abortion can be kicked out by a landlord or an employer, I have a funny feeling he will sign that legislation. And yes, it may end up in the courts, but I'm shocked and dismayed at the state that I live in.
Well, I think women need to shape up and be a little more moral.
I think women need to find a workaround and
need to learn how to live
more seats at the table.
He was a Navy SEAL, so that's something.
Well, all right. Let me try this.
Second youngest governor in the United States.
Missouri Secretary of State John R. Ashcroft. Please leave your name and number, and we'll call you back as soon as possible.
Do not record a message for
Missouri Secretary of State John Ashcroft.
This mailbox is full.
Oh.
Oh.
All right. So I will go to the website and see what I can do there.
Oh man.
Hey, this is good news though, because this means that they are hearing it.
And
that's true.
We just hit red states and blue states, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Is the first number that you got, was that off of 5 calls?
The first number I had was off of 5 calls, and that
maybe you should let them know that didn't work.
Let 5 calls know that didn't work?
Yeah.
Oh, I can do that.
Kind of neither one did, so.
Although the second one really didn't work any better. Like, I got to an actual voicemail, but I couldn't do anything with it.
All it did was hang up on you. Yeah.
True.
It was a lot like Natasha's experience, just quicker.
Yeah, right? Like, I kind of wish that you had just, been more honest about what your intention was to hang up in my face. But
right. Well, and that's, so, people, right, that leave the voicemail on their cell phones full. So you call them and you get through the whole greeting, and then this voicemail box is full. That drives me so crazy.
Yeah, several of Owen's employees have that. So when he has to try and call them in or find out why they didn't show up, I just had no way to get in touch. So yeah. It's kind of weirdly comforting to know that people in high positions utilize the same bullshit tactics that a janitor does.
That I used to avoid OkCupid dating. All right, so I've just linked that map so that we can look at it later in the week and see if it has changed for the better.
Awesome.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.